What's up, everybody? It's another edition of the BFF show. I'm Brendan.
I'm Franco.
Welcome back yet again on AMP Premiere. You're welcome. We do it for you for free. We do it for the people, for our fans, all of our many, many fans. Question mark? Fan? Question mark? Maybe we have some fans. We have a coast to coast fans, Franco.
We are Mr. Internationals, as Pitbull would say.
Mr. Worldwide is what Pitbull says. Please get Pitbull's phrases right. If there's one thing that I have always said on this show, is don't you dare disrespect Pitbull and always know what he says. We hold these truths of Pitbull to be self-evident, Franco.
You know, you might make some people angry if you mix the Constitution or the Pledge of Allegiance with Pitbull. I don't know if that's allowed.
Pitbull's the American dream. Yeah. Successful man, businessman.
Pitbull? Not American. Well, it's from a Commonwealth. Okay, I'll give it to you.
We brought it back.
Yeah, point.
We brought everybody back home. All right, before we get to the news of the day, Franco, give us a race update. How are you feeling? How is the training going?
Sure. So shortly after last week's recording, I suffered what's called a subungual hematoma, which means that I developed a large mass of blood under the front set of my toes, meaning that it's been very painful to walk.
Ugh.
I still put 12 miles in the next day, and then took a break, put 2 miles in, couldn't walk anymore. So I've been on sabbatical. I'll get back up to tomorrow. But lots of soaking my feet in Epsom salt water and icing and elevating, just like your favorite grandma at holiday time.
Is this a common injury among marathon runners, Franco?
It is. The non-fancy term is black toe, and it can be for a number of things, either hitting the front of your toe in the front of the shoe, or from the toe box in your shoe being a little too tight, which actually isn't the case here, or it can be just from the action of running, which obviously pulls blood forward as you run forward, and it just really getting caught into the nail. So it's not uncommon. It'll make for an ugly toenail, but I can live with that, I think, in this one instance.
So, but the bottom line is, though, you are on pace to get back into training and to get to the race.
Absolutely. What the doctor told me was it really comes down to a pain threshold issue and how much I care about how pretty that toenail looks. Both not really big issues for me, so I'm going to push through. I may have ugly toe. When we go to Vegas later this year and we go down that slide, I might be the most popular guy in the pool, but I can deal with that.
But we just keep your toes down. And as we've learned the last time we went to Vegas, most people are intoxicated, so they're not going to remember anything about your toe, my friend. So I think you're going to be fine.
Okay.
So we're good. We're good. But and then let's tag the end of the episode if you want to donate, find out more about what Franco's race is about, or more about Franco. We'll give you that link at the end of the show. We'll just keep doing that. We decided that last show, so if you weren't here, sorry, you missed the decision.
Whenever we talk about the race, the link is on the screen. Just know that. And again, the charity is CPY, which is a community program for youth. Super important work, helping the Seaside area community, which is where we air the show. So, vital. So donate. Let's get it up to $5,000, $5K.
Keeping it local.
Yep.
So let's go into the big news, Franco. We'll start. Normally, we've been running through the NFL news at the top of the show. However, this time we're going to start with Major League Baseball because hot stove, Franco, of free agency is fired up. The big two big stories. We'll start with the non-international story, which was Giancarlo Stanton being traded from the Miami Marlins to the New York Yankees, and that caused quite a bit of a row, if you will, among many general fans of Major League Baseball, certainly fans of the Marlins. Given that the ownership consists of one Derek Jeter, you might have heard of that man, longtime player for the Yankees, legend for the Yankees, in his first year sends off the National League MVP, most valuable player, to the New York Yankees for basically unloading cash. And the reports have also come out that the Marlins are trying to cut about maybe 40 to 50% of their payroll so that they are not getting hit with the luxury tax. So, Franco, what was your reaction to this trade?
I think it's a couple folds. The first one, I don't see this as collusion between Jeter and the Yankees. I think the reality is the Yankees are one of the few teams in baseball that can take the cap hit and not worry about it, hence the Yes Network and everything they have bringing money in. I think the reality is Jeter is just the front of many, many businessmen that bought the Marlins, and they inherited what essentially is a bad bet um, because they've lost money. They've been in the red. The goals get in the black. And I think there's a couple of contributing factors to this. One, the Astros won with a very low payroll by building a farm system and building up stars. So I think having them win the World Series kind of spurred on Jeter and his group of owners, or the baseball Illuminati, I don't know how many of them are, to kind of build the same model. And honestly, Stanton's not getting any younger. In fact, he used to be Drew Stanton. I mean, God, that's how long he's been around. He's changed his name twice. So I think he wasn't getting younger. He really was a win-now kind of guy. So getting rid of him, getting that payload off, and being able to sign some new farm prospects is kind of the priority here, and I think they accomplished that. So that's one thing. Another thing is I think baseball is just better when the Yankees are someone everybody hates. So thank you, because now baseball is interesting again. It was kind of hard. I like the Astros. They're a little exciting.
Yeah.
The Brewers are kind of exciting, but the Giants had a down year. The Red Sox aren't the Red Sox.
Right.
Nobody likes the Dodgers.
No.
So I think the Yankees being the evil empire once again will bring back viewers of baseball. So I think it's a win that way too.
It is interesting. Franco, is this a 10-year deal? I don't recall off the top of my head.
It's until like both of us are like in our 40s.
Okay. So it's a long-time deal. And I think
he can opt out at some point if he decides he doesn't want to make more money than God, but I doubt that happens.
I doubt that happens too, because I think there's two big names that this reminds me of, and it's Alex Rodriguez and it's Albert Pujols, who at the height of their power signed these 10-year deals that, and we've talked about this on the show before, you're paying for a really solid 4 to 5 years, and you're going to live with the back end of that 10-year deal for sure. That 5 years where you see it now with Albert Pujols, you saw it with Alex Rodriguez, you're not bringing in the numbers that you used to, and then it becomes sort of this quagmire of trying to justify on a daily basis the costs associated with that. So I look at this where you're right. He's going to be older on the back end of that 5-year deal. Obviously, that might play into sort of this issue, but it's the Yankees, and you're right. They can do these type of things, and it makes them, again, the hate level rise across the country in a way that makes this more interesting, because even the Yankees had kind of a weird off year for them as they were being portrayed as underdogs and likable, which doesn't really fit the New York Yankee mold.
They were kind of the Cinderella team from out there. I think this is just rebalancing of power. I think it works. Stanton, fortunately, is a little more likable than A-Rod, so he might be a little more benefit to the team over the end of that contract. But, I mean, it's Yankees baseball. Baseball is finally back to being baseball, I guess, so good to see.
And then in international news, we had finally Ohtani, pitcher/hitter from Japan, signing with the Anaheim Angels, making a big splash because this was a guy that has been called the Babe Ruth of Japan. His on-base percentage is just 20 points lower than Mike Trout. He has 10 win games, I believe, or won 10 games, last season. 100-mile-per-hour fastball. This guy can do it all. An intriguing option now for Anaheim that they have. He was being pursued by the Yankees, by, I believe, the Red Sox, Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals. And then slowly through the course, it was kind of like a very Bachelor-esque Franco moment in terms of the updates. It was like, you don't get a rose. So he told the Yankees, I'm sorry, I don't want to work with you. It's the market, he said. It's the East Coast. So then it was really narrowed down to which West Coast team would he go with. And I think going with an AL team allows him to hit with the switch hitter position, allows him, not switch hitter, DH, and then also pitch. And I think that's probably why he went. And I think it's going to be interesting. But I mean, this is kind of crazy, Franco. I mean, you and I in our lifetime haven't really seen somebody that could potentially do both this well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they use him. I'm a little worried we might see a little of the Steven Strasburg effect where they pull him off the mound for benefit of his longevity in the career. So I think if the Angels are smart and they do have that Pujols deal sitting around, they use this as much as they can to bring people into the stadium. And Molina's not dumb. I think he knows that in signing him. So I think we'll see that. I think ultimately he won't, in the long run, I think succeed at both roles. I think he might end up being more of a Dontrelle Willis, circa the Marlins back then, who could hit, pinch hit occasionally, but wasn't a full-time hitter.
The one other interesting aspect to this story, Franco, that I wanted to get your opinion on is the Cubs, and part of their presentation was they did a virtual reality seminar where they put a VR helmet on Tani and said, "This is what life is like when you're a Cub." And I wondered, Franco, what virtual reality out of all the Major League Baseball teams? I think I know which one you're going to pick. But if you can't pick your hometown San Francisco Giants, what other team would you most want to have a VR experience of?
That just sounds moderately filthy.
It does, doesn't it?
I don't know. That's a hard one. I
I know.
really, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles because it's a
Okay.
cool fan base, cool stadium. They have good practice facility. I think it'd be cool to take that environment in with the VR helmet.
I'm gonna agree with you. I mean, I'm a big fan of Baltimore as well. I think that would be funny. It'd be interesting, but I do enjoy the fact that a multi-millionaire player, the, that maybe one aspect of what the Cubs had in their back pocket was like, listen, we're gonna strap a VR helmet on this guy, and it's gonna blow his mind. Now, you and I are also avid video game fans, and you know damn well the VR is not that great. So I don't really know what this was. I would love if they released this footage of him like going through Wrigley as a world champion and pretending and just I don't want the footage of what's in the helmet, Franco. I want the footage of him in the room and trying to interact with things because that would be hilarious to me. But I'm
We
weird.
have to hope that he's really successful. Then we'll get it in his 30 for 30.
Oh
Like we'll
please.
get the VR helmet video and everything else.
Yes. So you heard it here
So cross
first.
your fingers.
20 years from now, we might get
Yes.
a 30 for 30 that includes a VR moment. So let's talk fantasies. We'll switch roles a little bit. We'll talk about our fantasy football league. I will start because I'm sad. I left about 75 points on my bench because I didn't trust Dak to do a good job. Smith, the backup running back for the Dallas Cowboys, who had been getting maybe 5 to 6 points the last 3 weeks, exploded for 30 points, didn't play him. So I am out of the first round. But big news for you, Franco, and I'm going to hand over the proverbial mic to you to make that announcement.
Sure. I finally broke the curse. The last 3 years I've
I'm
been
proud
one
of
of the
you.
top seeds and I've always eliminated the first round. I finally have stepped out of the shadows. Um, Part of it was Brady's bad luck. Started Amari Cooper, who was in the game for maybe a play before hurting his
Mm-hmm.
ankle. Um, Probably taking advice from the show where I said always start your stars, but maybe not guys that had not been confirmed until 5 minutes before the game.
Yeah.
And then Tom Brady did his Bradiness and pooped the bed. So that kind of killed Randy too. So I'm happy. I have one more hump before the championship. And if I do win this year, it would mark the first return of the title to my waist since the first time we played in the league 8 years ago. So we'll see.
Yeah, the only thing I've got is a streak of getting into the playoffs. Other than that, I'm going to fight for fifth place and have a great time. Probably going to lose. But what advice, Franco, can you give people that have moved on? And is it the same as what you said? Do you just keep rolling the dice with your starters, or do you have to get a little bit more creative now that you're getting deeper in the playoffs?
I think the only thing you have to make sure you do is stop grabbing guys to kind of fill your roster with maybes and start getting your handcuffs down, Pat. I mean, don't give away like a good star, maybe like Devontae Parker sitting around who normally you wouldn't drop, or an Austin Eckler, unless you have Melvin Gordon, Start handcuffing the players you need, like John Connor, Louis Bell, that kind of thing. Get your handcuffs on your roster now. That way you're prepared in case something happens.
And let's move on to NFL news, Franco. We have the Patriots losing in Miami. Miami's been kind of a house of horrors for them. A lot of talk now of are the Patriots bad or did they discover a weakness? Remember, there's no Gronkowski. You had Chris Hogan coming back, who typically is a pretty solid player, but again, he's coming back from about 5 weeks being injured. If you got a chance to see that game, Franco, or analyze it a little bit, what were your thoughts? Are this Patriots in trouble, or is this just a bit of a hiccup?
Every year, we always say this: the
Yeah.
Patriots in trouble. Last year, they got blown out by the Chiefs by 40.
Yep.
There's always a game where like Tom and company flip the switch. I think this is that game. And honestly, they've traditionally played poorly in Miami, and it could be the travel, it could be the stadium, it could be superstition. Who knows? But I think a lot of factors contributed to their loss. I think this is kind of the right time for their wake-up call to happen. We have a great matchup with the Steelers. I think it's
Hmm.
going to be a blowout. knockdown, drag out, huge scoring game. So I don't think this is anything to be worried about if you're a Patriots fan. For the rest of us, I just kind of roll my eyes and know the Patriots are going to be Patriots, and they'll come back and win. So I wouldn't be worried if I'm a Patriots fan, and I think it's just Adam Gase being a good coach and knowing that system.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're right. We do this every year. We have that one moment where they're like, oh, they're done. They might be done. And then it ends up where it's just a hiccup on the way to a championship and all is not lost. So I didn't really take too much stock into it. It made Monday Night Football entertaining, more so than it has been the past. So
Yep.
I had to sneeze.
Bless you. That's you. Nope, not yet. Wow, that was high drama.
That was high drama.
You saw it here first.
Yeah, please. Yeah, let's do a fun edit for that one. Don't edit it out. Leave it in.
Oh, it's going to be in there. We're going to make some explosion or something.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
So
Thinking naturally, the drama of that sneeze was about as dramatic as the game. And it came down to the fourth quarters, which you want to see. And again, I think the Patriots just got outplayed. So
the other major NFL news that came out was this Sunday during the Rams-Eagles game. Carson Wentz, quarterback for the Eagles, injured his ACL, tore it actually, and he's out for the year. Which again, it just adds to the pile of NFL stars that are injured. Franco, and watching that game live and seeing the hits he took, he was very aggressive, and I think that's what a lot of people pointed out, that there's a lot of quarterbacks who sort of drop back and go to their third option, dump it off to the running back, whereas Wentz seems to just be like, well, if I see an opening, I'm going to go for it. And he ran the ball about 5 or 6 times during that game and ran it, not just did a Eli Manning style, I'm going to slide about 5 feet away from getting hit. He would get on the verge of maybe being hit and then go down awkwardly, or he would get hit trying to make it into the end zone. So Carson Wentz out. Nick Foles in. Nick Foles had a great season about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
2013.
2013.
Yeah, 2013 was the 10-2 season.
Yep. So it's not completely out of the question that he could potentially lead this team. You do think of Jeff Hostetler from the New York Giants, who did that when Phil Simms went down, but who knows what's going to happen, Franco? I mean, when you saw this, did you think that that's the moment where the Eagles are going to lose, or when you saw Foles do okay, that maybe they have a chance?
Well, one, I think Wentz staying in after that hit and throwing that touchdown anyway, I think gave the team that emotional high. And as much as we like to kind of do the skies falling deal with quarterbacks going down, if any team's built to kind of withstand it, it is the Eagles. They do have 3 really good running backs,
Yeah.
a pretty good receiving core, a good tight end. The weapons around Foles are better than they were back in the day, unless you want to count Deshaun Jackson, who's not fantastic anyway. So I think Foles will do fine. I think the system's going to withhold, and I think we kind of saw what happened. The team kind of gathered and ran forward. Will they go 14-2? Probably not. But I still think they make the run in the playoffs, and they at least scare someone.
To you, what would be a good run? Do they make it to the Super Bowl, or do they? How far do you think they go?
I mean, if you're a Philly fan, it's Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah.
I think they lose in the championship game.
Yeah.
To who, I'm not sure. I lose the championship game.
It does get
Maybe the
interesting.
Saints.
It does get interesting because Mr. Aaron Rodgers is supposedly coming back next week, or this week, excuse me.
This week.
And that changes the dynamic a bit. That opens it up. So you're looking at Minnesota, Green Bay, the Rams, the Seattle Seahawks have yet to be completely destroyed, and actually they fight the Rams this weekend. So that's another huge game for the Rams. They're back-to-back huge games. I think it kind of, besides the AFC, which again I think is still Steelers and Patriots, those feel like the best locks for me. It's very much everything else is up in the air. I mean, even the AFC West, if you look at that, the Chargers against the Chiefs, they're fighting for number 1. The Raiders inexplicably are still in the conversation, even though they're terrible. Just a lot of weird, interesting things. You've got Jacksonville Jaguars in your opening playoff against the Titans still. The Titans are still out there because the AFC South is a mess. So messy team. This could be a really weird opening round, and I would say really weird second round potentially of NFL playoffs of teams that you're like, wait, why are they in? I mean, do you think that this is where we're going, Franco?
I don't think you should say weird. It'd be exciting, brand new, different.
Okay.
I think it's cool to see teams like Jacksonville finally turn it around. I think it's amazing that the Titans have somehow managed to stay relevant despite not playing well at all. Um, I mean, I think we're gonna see the Vikings. We'll see one of the traditional teams: Vikings, Green Bay, Saints in that NFC slot. The AFC, who knows? I think the Chargers have played better than about any other team
Yeah.
in this back end, and I mean, I think they'll scare someone, and I think they have the defense to beat a Steelers or Patriots. So we'll see what happens. I think really parity is on display here, and I think it'll be really fascinating to see the Super Bowl.
But of course, if you are a degenerate gambler like you and I are, only when we're in Vegas, this is probably a nightmare scenario because there's no one that you can count on. Like, do you really trust Blake Bortles to bet on him?
I mean, no.
No.
Are you going to trust Case Keenum?
No.
Or Brett Hundley?
No.
Or Jared Goff, who's unproven in a pressure situation.
That's fair.
And he is in LA, so he may be the Clayton Kershaw.
Oof.
Quarterbacks in NFL. So
Look at
maybe, who knows? So I don't know if you trust anybody other than Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger. So.
All right, we'll put money on that. But we'll wrap up with the hype is real, Franco. It is Last Jedi is finally here. Star Wars Last Jedi, in case I needed to clarify. Opens this Thursday, I think, Thursday night or something like that. On track to make billions and millions, not billions, but millions and millions of dollars. I'm going to go see it Saturday. Franco, are you going?
I unfortunately have to do a ton of work on Saturday. I have a couple of things going on, so I'm going to try to see it on Sunday.
That's all right. We'll talk about it on here. We'll do a no spoiler version and then do a spoiler version down the line. But what's your level of excitement from 0 to 10? 0 being the lowest, 10 being the highest.
7.
Yeah,
7. I think I have a little bit of fatigue. Like, I got excited for The Force Awakens. Then I got really excited for Rogue One. Neither were bad, but they didn't necessarily meet my anticipation. Mind you, better than the prequels, but then the Han Solo thing happened. Well, the drama about that. So I think where normally I would be a 10, I'm now back down to like a 7 or 8. So
yeah, I'm kind of in like that 6-7 range. I think it's like I feel a little just in general fatigue. Like I know I feel like more of this is an obligation than a desire to go. Like I feel like I need to see it. I do kind of want to see, but I need to see it. So, but we'll see. I hope it matches. At least I hope it's a good movie. I don't care if it necessarily meets the ginormous hype. It won't. I mean, I think we can all agree it's not going to. People are going to be super bummed out about this. You're going to see a lot of think pieces that Star Wars is over. I'm sure it's always the sky is falling. But I'm going to go see it. You'll go see it Sunday maybe, and then we'll talk about it right here on AMP Premiere. Spoiler-free version, and then like maybe 2 months if we remember, we'll do a spoiler version for all of you. Does that sound good, Franco?
It sounds good to me. And I think that is the one thing that's spurring me on to make sure I see it this coming weekend, because I've heard that if you know the spoilers, it can ruin the entire movie for you.
Okay.
Like a la The Sixth Sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Any movie written by M. Night Shyamalan. So, I'm going to have to see it early on because I don't want to get that movie spoiled for me in the process.
Franco, we've got to wrap up. It's that time again, but quickly before you go, what did you learn today?
Oh, man. I think I always go first. I think you should tell us what you learned today, and then I'll go.
That's fine. I learned that if I was potentially going to sign $1 million contract, I'll sign it right away if you put a VR headset on my head and let me roam around a room. Deal. Done deal.
Amp, you heard that. So once you update our camera system and possibly our editing software, by all means, please give Brennan a VR headset. He'll sign any deal you want.
I'll sign it.
For the future of this show.
Yeah.
I learned that, and I'm not going to be the one that starts the rumor, but I might be the one that starts the rumor. I heard that this new international arrival to Anaheim may have something to do with the fact that a famous sportscaster, who may be the star of a somewhat marginally regionally popular sports show in California, may have influenced the decision somehow. Not going to name names, but maybe you may have had a hand in the next Babe Ruth. Is that correct? Are you going to tell us if it's true or not true? But I heard in the grapevine that our new friend of the show may be the new Babe Ruth.
All I'm going to say is I sent some sweet killer emojis, and the rest is history. Just saying. Money signs and a poop emoji. That's it. Period. All right, for the BFF show, Franco, you'd say goodbye to people.
You're right. For the BFF show, I'm Franco.
And I'm Brendan.
Peace out.
Bye.
Probably not.